Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's morning briefing.
The Israeli Defense Forces targeted 8 Hamas terror positions in the Gaza Strip Wednesday night in response to yet another rocket attack on the Eshkol and Merchavim regions of southern Israel. Thankfully, there were no casualties or injured, but the attack comes just a week after 2 rockets were allegedly fired into Israel accidentally from the Strip, one of which hit a Beersheba home when the Iron Dome failed to respond correctly. Last night, the Iron Dome batteries did fire, however, after sirens alerted to the attack around 11:17 p.m. The Iron Dome interceptor missile was redirected, though, after it was calculated that the Gaza rocket was to fall in an open field. Brigadier General Manelis from the spokesperson's unit in the IDF said that the Iron Dome wasn't meant to intercept rockets that don't pose immediate danger to human life or property. In fact, he explained that a successful interception can even be more dangerous if it means debris will fall down and scatter above populated areas. Meanwhile, in the ensuing Israeli Air Force response attack, Israeli jets hit 3 Hamas military compounds, a training camp, weapons storage and manufacturing buildings, and more. No terror group in the Strip has yet claimed responsibility for last night's attack, but according to the IDF spokesperson's unit, quote, the Hamas terrorist organization is responsible for everything happening in and out of the Gaza Strip, and it will bear the consequences of the terrorist acts carried out against the citizens of Israel, end quote. Meanwhile, back in Ramallah, Palestinian Authority President Abbas has just announced that the PLO may decide to abrogate many of its agreements with Israel and the United States, pending discussions at the PLO Central Council meeting later this month. Speaking to Palestine TV, Abbas said that the PLO plans to put all the agreements between the two nations on the table and review them, continuing that they intend to ask Israel to stop violating said agreements, and that, quote, perhaps we will arrive at the point of abrogating a lot of what is between us, end quote. Such threats aren't necessarily new coming from Abbas, and nothing has really ever come of them before, but this time the threat was announced following nearly a year of increased tensions with Israel, the United States, and Hamas, as well as internal pressures to both save face and consolidate power and control over the Palestinian territories. Hamas-Fatah unity agreements, for example, have grinded to a halt, and the United States has made multiple moves that appear to reflect heavily downgraded relations between Washington and Ramallah. But until the PLO Council meets next week on October the 28th and 29th, it's impossible to know just how serious Abbas's rhetoric really is. Russia is now demanding more advance notice prior to future Israeli strikes in Syria. Moscow argues that previously, Israel had informed them just minutes before an operation. But ever since the accidental downing of the Russian spy plane last month, which killed 15 Russian servicemen, Russia has taken a stricter approach towards Israel. Although Syrian surface-to-air missiles were the ones that hit the Russian aircraft, Russia blames Israel for instigating the scuffle haphazardly. But senior diplomatic authorities in Israel call Russia's new demands operationally unacceptable, and they're not taking them lightly. Over the past several years, the IDF has struck hundreds of Iranian and Hezbollah targets in Syria, as they assert that an Iranian military presence in Syria could cause major destruction to the Jewish state. Russia's demands would vastly limit Israel's military prowess in Syria and could endanger Israeli aircraft. In addition, Iran would have more time to hide weapons and materials being targeted by Israel. Already last month, in response to the plane downing, Russia said it would give Syria more advanced S-300 air defense systems, and a satellite imaging firm has reported that 4 S-300 batteries are now deployed at a site near Masyaf, a northwestern Syrian city. Israel had previously carried out attacks against Syria's chemical weapons program at this exact location, and the site is also in close proximity to a Russian anti-aircraft battery, which happens to be one of the most advanced air defense systems in the world. HAIFA resident and terrorist Mohammed Shinawi shot and murdered Guy Kafri and wounded Yechiel Iluz in an attack in January 2017. The terrorist was convicted under the anti-terrorism law for the murder and attempted murder of his victims in the attack, and now he's just been sentenced to life in prison plus 22 years, and also to pay his victims 258,000 shekels and 120 shekels in compensation. During his attack, Shinawi fatally shot Kafri with 3 bullets, but just earlier that morning, Shinawi targeted Yechiel Iluz, who is a visibly religious Jewish man, from a short range. Iluz collapsed to the ground during the attack but was stable as his would-be murderer fled the scene. Shinawi then apparently also fired at a religious Jewish woman nearby but missed. Shinawi has still showed no remorse for his actions, though, and the motivation for his attack was found to be nationalistic. So the 3 judges voted unanimously on this ruling, with head judge Rivka Fuchs even saying that Shinawi committed the crimes, quote, only because of his hatred of Jews, end quote. During the hearing, Shinawi even admitted to all charges, confessed to using a weapon, possessing a knife, and attempted robbery and car theft. And during the trial, he also went on a rampage in the courtroom and had to be transferred back to his detention cell. His confession, though, led to his conviction a year after the murderous attack.
That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.